Hey guys, welcome back for part 4 of the IRS swap into the 31. My apologies for not making an episode for a while. Just got caught up, had a holiday to New Zealand, did a PC upgrade, so I didn't have a PC to edit on for a while. But yeah, we're back into it now and I've got heaps of content, so hopefully at least one a month, if not more frequently. So at the moment, as I film this, we're in mid-January. So the footage that I'm about to show you was from earlier in the year. So I've just got around to editing it. It has been pretty hot, so I've had to work around the heat. But we've got there in the end, and it's turned out all good. So in this episode, we're going to focus on how I make the box section. So in the previous episode, we made the jig to hold the rear mounting points in place, and this episode is going to be about how I box that in and create that into an actual like cross member that will be welded to the car. So enjoy, guys. Just back over at the car, what I'm going to do now, just measure the panel that infills here. Just try and get some dimensions for that and then cut it out. It's just a little bit tight in the corners. Let's see how it fits. So it's a little bit tight, it'll just need a bit of trimming, but other than that, looks pretty good. Let's measure up and cut the other side. again, just need a little bit of taper for the rails. Alright, this one actually took me 2 goes to get right. I don't know why I cut it smaller the first time. This shit happens. Nice and snug. If you remember from the last episode, we've got remnants of C-channel in here, and I've left some of the flange on, and that's going to be really helpful, because I actually made this top one 2mm wider on either side to account for the thickness of the sides. So I'll actually get another portion of C-channel and clamp it in the middle as well, so it's like nice box section, and then tack it all together. So for the end bits here, I'll just trim it flush with the rail, and then what I'll end up doing is making a piece that goes on the end. So I end up putting a piece to overlap the side of the rail as well, just a bit of extra reinforcement, something to hold it to the rail, box it in nicely. Going to be using these ones here. They're actually called magnetic V-pads. Now, I'd never heard about these before, but there is a YouTube channel called Welding Tips and Tricks, I think it's called. The dude knows his shit, and I saw him use these on there, and they look super handy, so I've got a set. I've actually got the packaging still here. You can't see, it's actually made by Strong Hand Tools. I think they were like 30 bucks or something. Super handy. So the rails here are actually slightly tapered. So this won't be sitting exactly like this. This end cap will sit slightly inwards, and obviously these end bits will get cut slightly diagonally. Okay, so on the other side, these worked out pretty much perfect lengthwise, so I won't need to chop any of those. Maybe might take a little slither off. Obviously this is in the way, so that's the factory exhaust hanger. In an S14 or a R33, the exhaust hanger is actually, there's an allocation on the subframe, so I'll go ahead and take this one off, and we might just give this tiny little trim, because again, like I said, the rail's slightly tapered, so it'll make more sense when I do it. Dare I do it? Let's give it a go. Alright, I'll just go ahead, trim this off, and then we'll measure up some ends for either side. Go 80mm, that's 80. I shouldn't have to trim it on this corner. Alright, we'll cut 2 of these. So you can see I've just put those end caps on there. They actually look quite good. The whole thing I'm pretty impressed with actually. It's all come together well. What I'm going to do now is just pull it all apart, measure everything, so that if I need to make another one of these, I don't have to go through all that hassle again. So I'll see if I can get a bit better angle on the that rail taper that I was talking about. Once that's all welded up, it'll look pretty good, I reckon. Quick shot of the other side, pretty much the same thing. One more, just to the end of the rail. It's probably worth noting, I do live in suburbia. It is getting pretty late. I can probably only grind for another half an hour, so I might just disassemble all of this, trace it out first, and then prep the chassis so hit it with a flat wheel, take it all back, get it ready to just tuck weld in place, make sure everything fits. Here's a good shot of where the new rail's going in comparison to where the old one was. Interesting. So they're all stripped pretty much everywhere where I think I'm going to have to weld them. In the end, I end up using this one here. Probably the best. Okay, so the plan is to actually weld the box section while it's bolted to this. That way we know it should hold its shape while I weld it. So then when we put it on the car, it's got more integrity and there's less likelihood that it's going to warp and these are going to get out of alignment. So with that all tightened up, actually makes this perfectly flat, so that's good. Just going to use another piece of this channel temporarily, just to give me something to clamp to. So obviously this has a front and a back. I'm pretty sure I've got it the right way. Did notice the other day that these ends, when I welded it, must have bent it just slightly, so I'll see if I can fix that. So we've got these magnets as well. Strong hand tools as well. So after stuffing around for a bit, I've managed to get it all clamped up. So I'm just going to do one side first. You can see the gap there. I think at one point it gets to about 2 mil, but other than that it's about 1 mil. So it's looking pretty good. So I'll tack this together and I'll show you what it looks like. Here's the same thing from behind. You can see I've just got some clamps either end on what's left of the C-channel, and that spirit level in the middle just clamped just to give it some extra rigidity so it stays straight while I weld it. So I've put a few tacks on there. What I'll do now is clamp up the other side. This is how I've clamped this side. I've just stood some pieces of the C-channel up in there and put some clamps on it, so pretty straightforward. Okay, so here's the box section. Just tack welded together. Looks pretty good. It's actually got some heft to it. But what we'll do is get this mounted to the jig, have a look, see if it looks good, and then I will tack this into the car, and that will allow us to mount the subframe in the car for the first time, obviously with it all tacked up. But then we can start putting some arms on and see where the wheels end up. So let's get this on the jig. Actually looks really good, really good. Now I don't know how well this is going to show on camera, but I've got this little angle cube here. So I've just zeroed it off. I don't know if you can see that. I'll have to have it going this way on the rail, but it's 0 here. So this thing works. If I pick it up, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 degrees. Pretty self-explanatory. This one, 0.00. Oh yeah. 0.00. That one says 0.25, 0.15, 0.15, 0.25. .2, a fifth of a degree. That's pretty fucking good. That's where it's getting welded. Okay, I just re-watched that and realised that I was leaning a fair amount on the car. 0. Zero. That's more like it. Gonna spot weld this one in, put some arms on the frame, put it in the car, see if it ended up where we wanted it. It's all tucked into the car. We'll see where it sits. Not good. Sitting in the car, it's too low. I figured out what went wrong. So we can use it at the moment for figuring out if it's in the wheels in center, that's fine. But I don't know if anybody who was watching picked up on this. When I made this, and these are calculated 30. So, stupid mistake. This member here was supposed to sit 10 mil under here, not 20. So this should actually be higher, 10 mil. What happened is, I thought this plus this, and if we want to go down 10, 30, but that would be if I was mounting off this face, but I'm mounting off the underside. So obviously I've gone down 20. Alright, on the positive note, just put some flat bar in there just to kind of simulate where it should be. It looks good, like there's the right amount of clearance where it should be up the top for the top brackets to be made, and obviously have room to fit in there. So what I'm going to do now is going to put the arms on this side and the knuckles and everything. I might have to put, won't have to put calipers, I might need to put a disc on there, we'll see, and get a wheel on there and see what it looks like. So this one here, it is pretty dusty, but that's the lower control arm. So sway bar mounts here. This one has had the bushes replaced. Many years ago I put urethane bushings. I got them from the US, they were way cheaper. So let's get this one on. Next, toe arm. This obviously controls the amount of toe in, toe out. Alright, this one's traction rod. I have no idea what this is for. Dampening or something? I have no idea. Alright, that's looking longer than I'm willing to admit. Upper control arm. I think this is the right side. It is the right side. It's probably worth noting, if you're looking to pick one of these up, the easiest way to tell between the earlier S13 or R32 and the later, pretty much everything afterwards up to 350Z. This one on an S13 or a R32, actually it's got like a circular cutout and it joins on both sides, whereas this one's a little bit different. Alright, so just my luck, doesn't have any bushes in it. These are the bushes that I bought. I bought these when the dollar was good. I think I got these for 150 bucks or something, which is about a quarter of the price what I could buy a full set for here. That's what it looks like. This one's had the handbrake chopped off, so obviously there's a hub. These are the shoes for the handbrake inside the disc, and obviously that's where the caliper mounts. Bear in mind, this has been sitting for a few years. It's filthy, but it should still be good. Alright. Now that's what the bushes look like. I do not have a tool to do this. I have this. It's actually designed to change ball joints while the arms are still on cars, so you don't have to take the arms out. Let's see if we can make this thing work. Demo. Obviously these things have their own lube. This is just to help it go in. This, once it's pressed in here, it shouldn't move at all. All the movement happens the pin inside the bush. Okay, I think we lost the end of that, but basically I was saying, once you press these in, it pretty much pops the flange out on this side, so 2 more to go. It's not the proper tool to do it, but just the orientation of these, it's almost impossible to do it in the press, so you do need some kind of hand tool. This gets the job done. Stick it on the car. Alright, that wasn't too bad. That's not helping. Looks good. Okay, so I'll leave it there for the end of episode 4, guys. Filming this at the moment. I'm probably going to film this the week before I upload it. It has been 41 degrees here today, so I'm just trying to work around the heat. Obviously I got to do this outside of work hours. It is making progress. This is the car on the ground as of mid-January, so hang in there. In the next episode we have a little bit of a hiccup in terms of the progression of the project, let's just put it that way, but nothing that doesn't get overcome in the end. So yeah, look out for that one, and thanks again guys, cheers.